squirrel season returns. This Saturday. Coming this Saturday. To a wildlife management area near you. What you doing? Just hanging out? That's cool. Just chilling in my car in the middle of the road. You know how I do. We got we have this robot that controls pistons that fire, controls pistons that click keyboard buttons so that we can test the keyboard output and all that, reliability, all that good stuff. But many of these systems are rather old, so they not rather old, very old. So with a mind to modernizing these, we had worked on how we could basically pull the guts out, pull the brains out and put in some new brains, more modern brains, so that we can measure, command the robot and measure the output of the keyboard. So this led down some interesting paths, but we managed to get my boss got a circuit designed for controlling the 24-volt pistons and basically driving everything, or driving the robot. But the whole thing is controlled via I2C, and the I2C was very annoying to figure out and get integrated with, because it's a flavor of I2C. It's not a flavor, it just has presets, I don't know. It was just annoying to get working. But once it was working, we can control it via Raspberry Pi over I2C in like Python scripts. So that's neat. I'll be getting my Bitwise on, since that's pretty much the only way we can manage it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. I've never done, I don't think I've ever done Bitwise Python. But I will be. So that'll be fun to be able to have that project all behind us. It was an interesting, frustrating, fun project. So I'll be glad to have that running, to count that in the win column. What are we doing? Nothing in particular, I guess. Everyone's just hanging out today. Everyone's really chill, just having a good time. Today is Thursday? Yeah. It's my anniversary. My anniversary. Our anniversary. 10 years. That's pretty cool. Kids these days with their not kids, but kids these days with their gigantic backpacks. I see these just like wafer thin kids walking down the street with backpacks that are like twice as thick at the chest as they are. It's unreal. Oh, how did they get scoliosis? Ooh, who knows? Why? Am I too early? Is that what it is? Is everyone doing lots of other stuff that I'm not expecting because I'm going to work early? I got up kind of early. Got my shave on. Not a bad job. I'm trying to hold those shavette blades out as long as I can. And I think I'm reaching that limit. I've always found it interesting how we fall into patterns and we create expectations based on those patterns, and then when we break those patterns, obviously our expectations are broken as well. Notice it with traffic. Not so much in Lexington, but in California, definitely. There was a lot more traffic to notice in Southern California. But when I would go to work at the same time every day, I would see, cops in certain spots. And then when I would go at different times of the day, I would have to adjust my driving because I would drive in expectation for the cops that were in those locations. But I arrived at a different time, which meant the pattern is different, which meant my driving needed to adjust. You couldn't be following one pattern while everyone else is following a different pattern. You adjust your pattern, you tune it to fit the world around you to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish. However, few people recognize the things that change those patterns for the rest of the world. And I might just be a little disconnected. I've always thought a little bit differently than other people. But I'm really curious about what commands this world. Well, I know who commands this world, but what makes little changes. I'll be my wife will pick me up with the kids, and then I'll be driving and be like, what's with these drivers? What's going on? Everyone's driving weird. And she's like, oh yeah. Or rather, I won't say that. I'll think that because someone will do something odd, and then my wife will be like, yeah, everyone's driving weird today. I don't know what's up. I don't know. It's there's a zeitgeist going on or something. Some kind of collection of aggression or passivity that permeates, and I think this is all non-verbal. Well, obviously, we're communicating. We're communicating through the linguistics of car, and I think that makes it more subconscious than anything else, because not a lot of people pay attention to what they're doing when they're driving. And I don't know quite what that means. I've never understood that. I've always been an extremely attentive driver. Because, everyone's driving around and tons of steel. They're all driving around a several million grain bullet with far more foot-pounds of energy than any shotgun or rifle. So, I want to know where they are and what they're doing. So you get to the point where you can tell when people are going to do stuff before they do it. Possibly before they even know they're going to do it, which is super weird to think about. I think they have unintentional body cues that transmit through the steering wheel. Again, I think most of this is all of it is nonverbal. I just think it's like implied. I don't know. It's like a feeling you get. But it's just a pattern. And if you can identify the pattern, then you can anticipate action. And if you can anticipate action, then you can move before they move. It's all just pattern recognition. It's very interesting. That said, I do drive like an NPC if I'm listening to an audiobook or talking on the phone, and that's not like, oh, hello, I'm shaving and talking on the phone and reading the newspaper and eating my cereal while doing the crossword. Not an exaggeration. Kind of an exaggeration. If I'm talking on the phone, like, the logical part of my brain is focused on the conversation. And I don't know, I'm kind of interested in that too, because I used to read a lot faster when I would move my lips, because I'd basically be, talking to myself, basically, but I wouldn't make any noise. And then I remember someone said a joke about something, and they were like, let's just say he moves his lips when he reads, and to imply that he was stupid. And I, being young and impressionable, was like, oh, I'd better not move my lips when I read. And now that I'm older and my reading speed has gone way down, and the amount that I read has gone down, I listen to more audiobooks, obviously, I wonder about that. And I caught myself, I get distracted by other vocal things in the room, if there's a TV running or something like that, with anything but music, it's distracting to me. And I was thinking about that, and now that I understand the linguistic part of how your brain kind of handles some of those linguistics a bit better, I realized that by moving your mouth to speak, silently speak the words that you're reading, you're actually preoccupying that part of your brain and some of your motor cortex in focusing on the thing that you're reading rather than just whatever's going on elsewhere. It's like if you're reading, you're using your reading muscle. But if you're reading and using your lips to speak the words, you're using your reading muscle and your talking muscle and your linguistic muscle and motor control movement muscle. And more of those muscles are focused on the book you're reading rather than all the stuff going on in the background. So I started moving my lips more when I read, and I definitely read a lot better. So I don't remember where I saw that joke or what it was or why I was self-conscious enough to think, oh, I'd better stop doing that. But that was a dumb move. It wasn't dumb literally. It's like dumb. I just started reading the Bible. It's like those dumb idols. Yeah, those idols sure are dumb. No, they're dumb. They can't talk. Oh, okay. Well, they're still dumb. I don't know. Yeah. So when I'm talking on the phone, I'm just, most of my brain is dedicated to that conversation. So I'm just like just driving straight ahead, basically, not really paying much attention to anyone else. Driving the speed limit, paying attention to what's in front of me, and that's about it. So, and that's quite the opposite when I'm not talking on the phone. It's what's interesting about that too is it's mentally exhausting. I didn't really realize that if you're going to drive properly and pay attention to things properly, it requires mental energy to do so. And if you just NPC your way through your driving, you kind of, I don't want to say veg out, but it doesn't require as much energy. which is an interesting thing to think. Squirrels are everywhere, man. They're in the trees.